Really appreciate y'all being here today at the 2019 Ag Day. My name is Sandy Stewart. I'm Assistant Commissioner of Agriculture, and it's my job and my pleasure to introduce to you a man who needs no introduction to this crowd. He's my boss. He's the best Commissioner of Agriculture in the United States of America, Commissioner Steve Troxler.
Good morning. I want to welcome you to Raleigh. I can't tell you how proud I am to stand up here and see all of you gathered here today in the name of agriculture and agribusiness in North Carolina. I know a lot of you have traveled a long ways to be here today, and it does mean a lot. And I know many of you had rather be at home on the farm rather here in the capital city, but this is an important day, and I thank you so much for being here. I hope every one of you are proud to be here today because you produce the food, the fiber, and sometimes even the fuel that we all enjoy, and a lot of people take that for granted. People are blessed most days 3 times a day by your dedication, your hard work, and by your commitment. Today is a day that we came down here to thank our legislators, but I just want to thank you as farmers for what you do and the ag supporters for what they do every day. You're part of what they say is 2% of the population that feed and clothe all of us every day, and I'm not even sure it's 2% anymore. That may be even less than that. But you make a difference. That is the point to you being here, the point to what all of us do to make things better for agriculture in North Carolina. And I think it's very appropriate that we start this off today by singing the national anthem. I want to call on some members of my staff. Every Christmas we have a Christmas luncheon at the department, and I've got members of my staff that sing not only traditional Christmas carols and hymns, but also they make up some songs about me, and they're good at what they do, but I hope they're not good enough to quit their day job because they are also valuable to me and to you. So I want to introduce them, Jim Burnett, Vernon Cox, Dr. Sandy Stewart, and David Williams. So if you will come up.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through a perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank y'all. I hope that brought cold chills to everybody here. I know how dedicated they are to what they do every day, as are all of the people in the Department of Agriculture, so I'm very proud of them. I'm proud to be here with the many friends of agriculture that we have across North Carolina, and this doesn't represent everyone, but I am so happy that so many of our agriculture supporters are here today. This is the first week in months and months and months that we've had sunshine, and for you to take the opportunity to come away from the farm and be up here today, it just means a lot. In the days after Hurricane Florence, I know Governor Roy Cooper was out in many areas of the state checking on residents and seeing how the state could help. And when the legislature passed the $240 million relief package, he very quickly signed that bill and set into motion what I hope has made it possible for farmers across North Carolina to get back in business and be able to farm in this year. So I'm pleased to have Governor Roy Cooper with us today, and Governor Cooper, if you would come up and give a few remarks.
Thank you, Commissioner Troxler. I listened to my wife, Kristen, as I walked out the door. She said, "Put on that coat," which I did. I'm glad to be here with Commissioner Troxler, who has been relentless in his fight for farmers and his fight for compensation for them, and I'm grateful for his staff, Larry Wooten at the Farm Bureau, all of these legislators, Republican and Democrat, ag extension agents, our university friends, our local government officials, and of course the farmers who do the work in North Carolina. We are grateful to you because it is a part of who we are as North Carolinians, and it is a major economic driver for us. I can't believe that we got all these farmers together and it's not raining today, which is a good thing. The last few years have been tough. I grew up in eastern North Carolina and worked on the farm every summer until I went to college, and continue to talk with farmers across our state almost every week. I don't think I've ever seen it this tough in the farming community. After two major storms, after tariff wars and commodity prices get caught up, after fight, farmers are depressed and discouraged, but at the same time, they are determined. And I'm grateful for your determination today. We did work together in a bipartisan way to provide compensation to farmers when they need it. It's not enough, but we have to do more. I put in a budget proposal to expand internet access, high-speed internet access to rural areas, which is crucial to farmers and economic development. I proposed water infrastructure for rural North Carolina, which is going to be important for us to continue to develop there. And I know that we need to expand Medicaid to get more people covered and to save our rural hospitals. I look forward to working with this General Assembly and with all of you to continue to make strong farming in North Carolina, to make sure that we can feed the world, to make sure that people can make a good living, and that we can encourage the young people to follow the families and continue in their family farm. We can all do this together. Thank you all very much.
Our next speaker is Lieutenant Governor Dan Forrest. Dan has worked with us on many, many ag projects. We consider him a friend of agriculture and a part of agriculture. So Lieutenant Governor, if you would come up.
Thanks, Commissioner. Thank you, everybody. It's great to be with you. I'm honored to serve you as your Lieutenant Governor here in North Carolina, and want to say thank you today to all the farm families out there that make the world go around in rural North Carolina. We want to say thank you for the hard work and dedication that you put in. And it's way too cold out here. It's starting to rain a little bit. Way too cold for a long speech. But let me just say this. I am here to support you. When you're out there doing the right thing and you're working hard to put food on our tables and put food on the tables of people around this world, when you're doing the right thing and you're obeying the law and you're obeying the rules and the regulations that you're supposed to be obeying, when some trial lawyer comes in from Texas to tell you that they want to take your money away and want to take your living away, guess what? We're going to stand on your side, not on the trial lawyer's side from Texas. We want to make sure, the General Assembly wants to make sure, they've been fighting for you every day. You have so many allies here in North Carolina you don't even know. But they're fighting for you every single day to make sure that the system works for farmers, that the system doesn't work against farmers in North Carolina, to make sure that outside interests aren't coming in here trying to put you out of business. You should be very thankful right now, as I'm thankful to them for the work they do every day to protect our farm families and to protect our farm communities. And right now you have allies here, so thank you for feeding us. Thank you for feeding the world. Thank you for making your communities in North Carolina better. God bless you all. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Forrest. We are so fortunate to have so many friends in the legislature and their support for what we do and the work of the year that they do to try to make things better for us and to remove some of the regulatory burdens that we have upon us. So we're thankful that all are here today. And I've learned a few things being around here for almost 14 years, and one of them is never get between the House and the Senate. So I didn't want to choose who would go first this morning, so we had a guess the number, and I will say that Phil Berger was better than Tim Moore at guessing the number, so the Senate will go first this morning. So we're going to hear from President Pro Tem Phil Berger, Senator Brent Jackson, Senator Harry Brown, and Senator Dan Blue. So if you would lead us all, I would appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve. Steve, when you mentioned that the Senate was better at numbers than the House, Senator Jackson leaned over and said, yeah, that's right. So the only problem I have at this point is Speaker Moore will get the last word, but I'll just start out, really, don't pay any attention to anything he says, okay? Seriously, I want to thank every one of you for what you do for me and what you do for everybody in North Carolina every day. You know, agriculture is an $87 billion industry in North Carolina. It is the largest industry in North Carolina, and we're so proud that you do what you do. It's been mentioned that times are tough on the farm now, and they are. But as the Lieutenant Governor indicated, one of the reasons times are tough on some farms is perfectly preventable, and the General Assembly has been working to help prevent that sort of thing from continuing. I think it's important for farmers to today, you know, you have to worry not just about the cost of commodities, you don't have to worry about what the weather's going to be like. By the way, they told me today was the first day of spring. I'm not sure they got that one right, but you also need to worry about who represents you in the General Assembly, who represents you in government, and who represents you on the courts. That's going to be extremely important next year. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for making sure that we all get to eat 3 times a day. And again, I appreciate every one of you. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. So glad to see all of you here. You know, I look around this audience and, you know, I'm a farmer, as most of you know, and I know what it took to leave your farms and come up here today. But I just want to tell you how much I appreciate the support that you're showing us, and we are very appreciative, everyone on this stage, and is all very appreciative for you to be here. You know, today marks a special day, as Senator Berger said. You know, today is spring. It might not feel it right this moment, but you know, spring to a farmer brings sort of eternal hope. And you know, we're all optimists. If not, we'd not plant that first seed, or we would not raise that first livestock. You know, we are optimists. We are also resilient. We will stand, and we will stand together. And this group behind me will do that too. We will back you up when you're out there trying to do that. It's been our honor and our privilege, even though we had rather not have done it, because of the storms, but that's out of our control, thank goodness. But we were more than willing to step up, all of us, to help out everybody out there in this storm that we've had. And we will continue to do so. So thank y'all very much for being here. We've introduced the 2019 Farm Act today, Senate Bill 315. Look it up. This is our 7th Farm Act. And as it moves through the committee process, we continue to get it passed, and I know we will with the support of these gentlemen up here. So thank y'all all very much, and God bless you.
Thank you, Senator Jackson, for sponsoring that Farm Act. You're right, 7 years in a row, and I think it has made a difference in North Carolina. I also want to thank my folks from Jones and Onslow County for coming to my office this morning, spending a little time with me, and you know, growing up in Jones County, I still got a lot of relatives that farm every single day. And I'm looking at Sam Davis over here, another good Jones County guy that was in farming for a long time. But you know, you guys are a little bit under attack, and a lot of you are out on that farm working every day and getting ready to plant those crops this year. And I don't even think you realize how much you're under attack. But I can tell you this General Assembly knows, and we're going to take whatever measures we have to do to try to protect you. But it's a real concern, I know, for me, and I think anybody that represents rural North Carolina, it's a real concern. But I can promise you this, we're going to do everything we can to protect you and support you and what you do every single day. And you know, I grew up on that farm. My granddad had a farm, and you know, I was in those tobacco fields until I was 18 years old. So I know what that hard work's all about, and you know, and that's what you do every single day. And I don't think people appreciate that hard work enough, to be quite honest. But it does make a difference, and your families are strong families. They stick together. You know, your kids give back to the community because they know what hard work's all about too. And so you're a key part of this state, and I just can't thank you enough for what you do and how much I appreciate you. So thank you so much for being here today.
Senator Dan Blue could not be here with us, but we do appreciate his support. I said that the Senate would go first, and now we're going to ask the House members to come up. And Speaker Moore, I can tell you that Brent Jackson accuses me of guessing numbers all the time, so they can't rip you too much, but if you would come up and lead us off. We're going to have Speaker Tim Moore, Representative Jamie Dixon, Representative John Bell, Representative David Lewis, Representative William Brisson, and Representative Brian Turner.
Thank you, Steve. Good morning. Let me first point out, I've seen several of my House members out here in the audience that are out here. I would say the members of the House, please raise your hands because there's quite a few out here milling around. They're scattered around all over the place, so I want to make sure they're recognized as well. First off, welcome to Raleigh. Know that we understand that we work for you, and we know that agriculture is the primary industry in North Carolina. Jimmy Dixon always says it very well. If you want to thank somebody for your freedom, thank a farmer, because only a country that can feed itself can truly be free. We know that it was the first industry, if you will, of our state, and it's still the most significant. And I want to follow up on comments both of Senator Berger and Lieutenant Governor Forrest about how we know farming is under attack by a number of outside sources, including what I would say were frivolous lawsuits. And I can say that as an attorney, that I think it's just wrong what I've seen as far as some of the verdicts and judgments that have been entered against farmers. And please know that this body is doing all we can to have your back and to protect on that. What kind of economy, what kind of government would not protect those who are feeding us? I mean, that's just common sense. That makes sense to me. We're going to continue to fight that way. Also, when it came to the disaster relief, I had the opportunity to, with the commissioner, to go down and tour and see a lot of the damage that occurred. I've seen, we saw houses underwater, we saw crops underwater, we saw all kinds of destruction. And we made it a top priority to make sure that when it came to the disaster response, that we were there to make sure to get funds to agriculture, because we know that is critical. The other thing I want to stress is most of the other speakers who've spoken are either from the middle of the state or from the east. I'm from the western part of the state. And while our agriculture is a little different than that down east, we're all tied together. We all have a common bond. And while we see areas like Raleigh and the Charlotte and the cities that are growing, we know our rural areas aren't growing as well. One of the other initiatives we're working on this year is to make sure when it comes to any kind of infrastructure, any kind of economic development, that we're investing in those rural communities as well. And please know you have allies who not only support agriculture, but who also support rural North Carolina. I want to thank you for being here in the cold. Wish you the best. God bless.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning when I started my day, my wife and I knelt by our bed this morning the way we did yesterday morning and the way we'll do tomorrow morning. And we pleaded with the Lord to bless our efforts this day to do that which would keep America free. There's been much talk about bad times. Well, I want to call our attention to this, my good friends. We really don't know what bad times are. Our forefathers and foremothers, they sacrificed from their necessities. Sometimes we have to give up some of our excesses. Well, I want to tell you that that heritage that we live in today came from struggles and work and sweat and blood from our forefathers who dug out of this country a living and made farming the greatest thing that's ever happened to the United States of America, and I intend to keep it that way. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Representative Jimmy Dixon, if you didn't know. My name is John Bell. I happen to represent God's country, which is Greene County, Wayne County, and a little bit of Johnston County, right in the heart of agriculture country. And so I'm glad to see so many friends here today. I'm also glad to see two of our flagship agriculture schools, NC State University, and right here in front of me, North Carolina A&T, here today to support our agriculture cause. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them a round of applause. This is the future of agriculture right here in North Carolina. By the way, back-to-back national football champions as well, if I'm not mistaken. So today I want to bring you continued greetings and thank you. I want to thank you for all you do to support our communities. I want to thank you for all you do each and every day to feed a hungry world. I also want to say thank you to Commissioner Troxler, our agriculture partners that are here today, members of the General Assembly, our Lieutenant Governor, and other folks that worked so hard to provide the much needed assistance after Hurricane Matthew and Florence. Gentlemen, men and women of the General Assembly, thank you for your support, because that funding was put to good use and helped hardworking farmers. Our state's largest economic impact will continue to thrive because of your determination and resiliency. Never forget that. You are the hardest working North Carolinians that this state has to offer. I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you for supporting us. And together we'll do everything we can to promote, preserve, and protect our agriculture heritage. Thank you.
Good morning. On behalf of all the people in Bladen and Sampson County, I just want to thank each and every one of you for being here today to recognize and support agriculture. The greatest thing that happens in this state of North Carolina. Also, I see a lot of Farm Bureau folks here today. I want to be sure and thank all of you for taking out time and what you do and the representation that we have in all 100 counties, that it means so much. Over 550,000 members. So thank you for what all of you do. And I see a lot of men, but I see a lot of women. And I can tell you, if it wasn't for the women, you know the men would screw it up. So thank you again, and may God bless you.
Thank you, Commissioner. So I'm so excited to see everybody out here today. In particular, I'm excited to see some of the folks who made the long drive from the area that I represent, Buncombe County. So I appreciate Nate and Jackie for coming down here and being here today. And I am blessed representing Buncombe County and representing some fantastic farming communities like Sandy Mush, Hominy Valley, and Lester. But not everybody here at the General Assembly is lucky enough to be down here and represent such fantastic areas and people. And so I've been educated by the farmers in my community, by Senator Jackson, definitely by Representative Dixon, He educates me every day. Educated me this morning a little bit in Ag Committee. But I'm very lucky for that. But not everybody else is. And one of the things that you've come down here to visit with us, to tell us what you do, to tell us what's going on in your world, but more importantly, I think, and this is an opportunity I've had, is to see what you do and see what you face with weather, with disease, with regulation, and to see it firsthand. And so I would ask, as you're here today, and as you leave here today, visit with some of those representatives and senators who don't have beautiful farmland in their areas, and invite them to your farms. Invite them to see firsthand, to understand the hard work that you put in, what you are doing to feed our state and feed our country, how critical it is to our safety and our survival. Make them understand so that when we're down here voting, they have faces behind the legislation and the regulation, and they can make the wise, informed, and right decisions, the decisions to help farms and farmers. Thank you for being here today. Appreciate it.
Senator Dan Blue was able to join us, and I will ask him to come up now and make his remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Commissioner, and thank all of you. It's truly an honor to have our farm families and agribusiness supporters here today. You know, in North Carolina, our agricultural roots run deep. I grew up around the tobacco fields and worked them in Robertson County. And so I know what farm life is and what farmers mean to North Carolina. And I want you to know that I've served in this legislature a good while, and in fact, you're assembled now in part of the area that I represent here in Wake County. And I want you to know that every session that I've served in, agribusiness and agriculture is important to my colleagues and all of us, and those that it's not important to, those of us that it is going to make it important to them. Because what you do for this state is absolutely incredible. Because we still got a pretty good crop of farm families carrying on this great North Carolina tradition. You find North Carolina in every home just about across this country. The commissioner talks about Christmas trees, he talks about turkeys, he talks about strawberries, sweet potatoes, pork, pickles, and you run the entire gamut. That's part of the engine that drives North Carolina. Nobody serves up more of these commodities than we do. You know, it's March now, and March Madness is taking hold of our state, as you know. Our basketball rivals have given a new meaning to the term Tobacco Road. And as I look, what I see here today is a new generation of farm families giving a new meaning to agriculture. Somewhat different than the simple time when I grew up, when we were just doing row crops for the most part. And I want you to know, though, that you're driving a force in conserving our own natural resources by what you do as farmers, in the innovation of agronomy and the future of farming. You're important in so many ways, not just the multi-billions of dollars that you put in our economy. And you preserve our state's history. It's appropriate that you're around here. You see in a couple of months when they come up, all of North Carolina's major crops represented in these growth areas here in front of the History Museum. More importantly, you are the future of North Carolina. Thank you for all you do in your commitment to putting food on our tables, keeping our animals healthy, and I look forward to seeing what the new crop of farmers and farm producers in this state will present for the rest of the world and the country. Thank you for being with us so much this morning.
Our next two speakers need a little introduction to the people here. First, President Larry Wooten is celebrating 25 years of leadership at Farm Bureau. And Dean Richard Linton has come to North Carolina and has become a valued partner. And both of these gentlemen are not only partners, they're close friends, and we do a lot of things together, and we are strong as partners. So Larry, I'll ask you to come up.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Troxler. As President of Farm Bureau, first of all, I just want to thank all the farmers, the Farm Bureau members, the Friends of Agriculture, agribusinesses for being here today in this Ag Day. It's heartwarming and humbling just for all of us to stand here and see farmers almost all the way back to the Capitol building. And certainly I want to thank not only the members of the General Assembly that are behind me here on this podium, but those that are in the building behind me for the work and the dedication and the recognition of the importance of agriculture to the economy of the state of North Carolina. Folks, you don't know what that means. This makes it much easier for all of us that are out there planting and plowing and producing to have this kind of support. So thank them. And now I got some homework for you. You know, Representative Turner said it very well. It's important that you know your members of the General Assembly, but it's also important that they know you. And the best way for them to know you is for you to invite the members of your General Assembly, get a box of donuts, invite them to your farm. They want to learn, they want to know what's going on in agriculture, they want to understand what agriculture is in this state. It's changing, the state's changing, and it's important that you bring them out. We've got a lot of new members of the North Carolina General Assembly. Invite them to your farms, your businesses, and educate them as to what's going on. Thank all of you. Let's hope and pray, ladies and gentlemen, that we have in 2019 a good crop, because it doesn't matter whether the prices are high or the prices are low. If you don't make a crop, it doesn't matter. Thank you very much, and I wish all of you Godspeed as you go home. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. For those of you that don't know me, I'm a big baseball fan, and one of my favorites was Lou Gehrig, and upon his last speech at Yankee Stadium, he said, "Today, I feel like one of the luckiest men in all the world." Well, I will tell you, as the Dean of the College of NC State, today I feel to be the luckiest dean in all of America. Today I speak on behalf of, Today I'd like to speak on behalf of North Carolina State University and North Carolina A&T State University, Mount Olive, and all of the community colleges around the state of North Carolina that work hard each and every day to be able to produce the next generations of leaders that are going to propel North Carolina as one of the global leaders in agriculture. Collectively, we work together to be able to solve the grand global challenges of agriculture. We partner for research. We support the largest extension network in the Southeast. And together, as we work together as universities and as we work together as partners, we will move North Carolina forward. I want to thank all of you for challenging us to be the best we can be, and certainly thank all of the gentlemen and behind me for their support to be able to help North Carolina grow. Go Pack!
You know, we talk a lot about the importance of partnerships, and I think what you've heard here today certainly signifies that there are a lot of people that work hard on our behalf across North Carolina and here in Raleigh, and we certainly appreciate. Farming's hard work. Anybody that does it knows that. There are many factors outside of our control when we plant a crop, and but we're going to continue to grow ag and agribusiness in this state by good policy and strong partnerships. And I'm still very, very confident in our ability to do that. We're going to continue to ask these leaders for their support as we focus on creating new opportunities for our farmers going forward. And yeah, we've had some setbacks, there's no question about that, but as an industry, we got up, we brushed ourselves off, and we got to go back to the business at hand. I think everybody talked about Hurricane Floyd for a long, long time, and we remember that. And we talked about Matthew for a little bit of time, but we didn't have time to talk about it long because along comes Florence and Michael. But I can tell you there are things that I do believe are true. I do not believe that 2018 is going to define us. What is going to define us is how we have responded to the disasters that we've seen and what we do in the future for the state of North Carolina. That will define us. They say there's a silver lining in every cloud, and I actually saw that. We saw the biggest clouds that we probably have ever seen in Florence and Michael, but the lining in the cloud, the silver lining, was the goodness of the people of the state of North Carolina. What I have seen is neighbors helping neighbors. I've seen faith-based organizations that have stepped up to help get people back in their houses. I've seen people that have fed people when they were hungry and got them food. That's all important. That's what North Carolina is. That is what will define us in the future. I can tell you that what I know is stronger farms mean stronger communities and a strong rural economy, and we're going to work toward that end, and we're going to make sure that we do that. We've got some more people on stage here with us that I want to introduce who have not spoken, but I want to introduce ACT chairs Norman Sanderson. Norman, would you stand up? Chair Andy Wells, and House ACT Chair Representative Larry Strickland. We've also got some other people on the stage who didn't speak, but I do want to thank them and recognize for their efforts in putting this event together. First is Jimmy Gentry with the North Carolina Grange. A neighbor and friend, John Ash, who is here as president of the North Carolina Agribusiness Council, and by the way, they're hosting your lunch today. A former employee and friend, Dr. Sandy Maddox with the University of Mount Olive. And Dr. Mohammed Ahmedna from A&T State University. Go ahead and cheer, A&T. We couldn't have done this without the support of a lot of sponsors. And at the fairgrounds, you're going to see a banner with all the names on it. And if I stood up here today and tried to call the names of every sponsor, we'd be here till 4:30. And I don't think you want to do that. So, but please do thank these sponsors. There's one thing that I see out here in the crowd. I see these signs that say Farmer Strong, support farm families. Raise those signs high and be proud of it. I challenge all of you here today to share our story. You know, it's been mentioned that the cities have overwhelmed us population-wise in rural North Carolina, so we've got a story to tell. It's an important story. You can't sit back and think that those of us in leadership are going to get it done. It's going to be incumbent to you to help share these stories, and I hope the public does become to understand that the food doesn't start on the grocery shelf. It starts at a farm. Everything that they eat and supports them is a farm. So we need that support, so help us do that. You've taken a big step today by coming to Raleigh. This won't be the last time that we ask you to come and have your voices heard. So keep the dialogue open. I said it on the rally here that we had last summer. I'm going to say it again. Agriculture is not a nuisance. It's a necessity. Every one of you are a blessing. Keep up the good work. I thank you so much for being here. I thank our legislators for their support, and be safe going home. Thank you.